You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to giving you the inside scoop on what's happening on the lakes and waterways of our region, with a primary focus on Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend. Your host, V&M Baits General Manager Kevin Jean and Camus Boats Pro Staffer Steve Graff. Two guys with years of tournament experience with Pro-Am circuits like ABA, BFLs, Toyota Series, and BASS Opens. Anglers willing to share their knowledge and to give you inside information to make you a better angler. So get ready to take some notes and learn exactly how anglers are catching the big stringers right here on Tackle Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
That's right. You have tuned in to the best podcast on the market today. That's Tackle Talk Live. Welcome to Tackle Talk Live. I'm Iowa Camus Boats Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with former president of V&M Baits, Kevin Jean. Kevin, today we continue once again another week of championship season. Our coverage. We got to wrap up the ABA today at Texas Southeast. That our good buddy, friend, average angler. I would say average. Kevin Lazion. Would you say he's average?
Above average a little bit.
Okay, we'll give him a little more credit. We'll go above average. No, Kevin, we're messing with Kevin. He backs his boat in the water. He's one of the guys you got to beat. And but he took on first place in that event, Kevin. It was a tough grind, but, somebody always figures them out, and Kevin's no exception to that rule.
Yeah, I mean, how much did he even practice, Steve? Did you talk to him? Did he even practice last week over there?
I don't. Yeah, we talked a lot. Actually, day two takeoff, we spent 40 minutes with each other just shooting the bull, and we talked about different things and how to run up the lake and how tough it is to get around north of 147 bridge, which I kind of gave up on it. I ended up staying the bridge south. I did a little bit of stuff around the canyons, but it's even from a week ago, it's dropped another 6 inches, and
yeah.
I'm dragging bottom, just idling across.
I'm nervous for those guys. The Sealy coming up over there. I'm nervous for those guys, especially ones that haven't been on the water much. I think they, I hope everybody takes precaution and don't run anywhere you don't feel comfortable running. That's for sure.
Boy, that is a great advice right there. I'm telling you, because it is. You get in certain places, man, you can hit something, and you're hitting stuff now that you never knew was even there. So.
Right.
You got to really be careful. I didn't recall any major damage to anybody in our tournament, and I did see a guy run across the canyons, and he ran right across the roadbed, and I was like, "What is this dude?" There wasn't a foot of water on that roadbed, and he ended up hitting a stump after he got across it. I don't know how he didn't hit the roadbed, but I think he might have had a little damage on his motor when it was all said and done. But anyway. So, but in today, in honor of ABA, it's a big announcement day. We're going to have ABA Tournament Director Chris Wayand on to introduce the 2024 ABA Professional League, and he'll go over the changes for next season and the schedule for the Solo 150. So, Kevin, I'm looking forward to hearing what he's got and all the new stuff going to be taking place. I know we've had a great response to the notification we sent out last night on Tackle Talk Live and on my personal Facebook page. A lot of people are excited. They're anxious to hear what Chris has got to say today, because it's news. It's still news to a lot of people right now.
Yeah, it is, Steve. Everybody, there's a lot of questions about this pro league, and honestly, the Solo 150, I look for it to take another step forward this year. It's done well the last 2 years, but with the schedule he has this year, the time of year he's doing it, and with everything, how it's went in the past, with the payout it had, I look for it to continue to grow. I think that they're doing a lot of things with that Solo 150, so I really want to make sure we dive into it as well. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to having Chris on, and so we'll wrap up that event, the 2-day championship. If we get to it, we may have some. I've got some media bass. Media bass, I think Kevin had right at 100 boats in their tournament. I was in a little bit of a competition with 2 media bass guys. Our team, we were on the same group of fish in one little certain spot, and it was one little spot.
Yeah.
But we kind of worked together on it. And it did allow me to get enough fish off of it to qualify for the next race, Scott, which is next April. And Adrian James, my roommate, he finished high enough to also qualify for the race, Scott. So good news for my roommate and myself. We're looking forward to going to Chickamauga next April and seeing how we do over there. But anyway, all right, we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we got Chris Wayand, ABA Tournament Director, and you're watching Tackle Talk Live.
Toledo Health is a full-service primary and acute care clinic. Nurse practitioners Jarrett Rule and Melissa Vines bring quality health care that's needed and convenient to the area. Whether it's a stomach virus or a hook in your hand, Toledo Healthcare will try and meet all your healthcare needs. Appointments available and walk-ins are always welcome. So the next time you're feeling down at Toledo Bend, stop by Toledo Healthcare, located on Highway 6, just south of Toledo Town, or you can call 318-508-5323. For all your boating needs, check out Shreveport's newest marine dealer, The Boat Shop. Raymond Kidd and his great staff will take care of all your engine repair needs or anything else that needs fixing. A certified Yamaha Mercury dealer, they carry two of the best fishing boats on the market from Sea Arc and Camus. The Boat Shop is never short on trade-ins, as they're always willing and able to make you the best deal possible. Looking for great boat accessories? They're a full support Garment and Minn Kota dealer. So the next time you're in the market for a new or used boat, or maybe you just need to service the boat you have, let the Boat Shop fix you up. To learn more, call 318-402-0399 or go to ShreveportBoatShop.com. The next time you're on I-49 just south of Natchitoches, Louisiana, stop by Cypress Knee Outdoors. A store within a store, Cypress Knee is located inside 3J's four-way. Whether you need gas, food, or drinks, they have it. While you're there, check out Cypress Knee Outdoors and pick up whatever hunting or fishing tackle you need. Top name brands like Strike King, Santone, Spro, or the #1 soft plastics made, V&M. On the hunting side, they carry guns from Mossberg, Winchester, and Remington. Plus, they've got a great supply of ammunition. Let John Abram and his staff show you everything Cypress Knee has to offer. Located just 1 mile east of 127 on I-49, or call 318-238-HUNT. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
This is Tackle Talk Live. Thank you for tuning us in. This segment presented by Toledo Health, The Boat Shop, and 3J's Four-Way, home of Cypress Knee Outdoors. And we're actually having a little trouble getting Chris on the line right now. We're going to continue to, we'll get him here in just a second. Real quick, Kevin, I do have the media bass results and from this past tournament. Let's see here. It was their media bass championship that was a 2-day event. Also took place on Sam Rayburn. It was Saturday and Sunday, just like ours was, and they caught them pretty good. There were some guys there. Actually, a local guy that I know personally, Jeff Holder from Shreveport, was in this event, and I think him and his partner did pretty good in it. But first place in this event was from actually the winning team. Looks like it was from I think that's Louisiana. I'm not sure if that. I don't know if LAS. I guess that stands for Louisiana, Kevin. I'm not sure what division that is. It's got to be Louisiana. Bergeron. Yeah. that makes it Louisiana right there. Doug Bergeron and Brandon Bergeron, they won it. They had a 2-day total of 24.26. They won $10,000 for first place in this event. And second place was Mike Tripkosh and Jeff Fisher. I think Jeff is actually from Shreveport, if it's the same Jeff Fisher. They had a 2-day total. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong weight. First place was 36.72. Second place was 31.80. Third place was Brandon Holshed and Ladarius Carpenter. They were third with 28.57. So, Kevin, the weights dropped off pretty hard, pretty quick. Now, a lot of 27s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 27-pound bags. Bill Husbeth and Philip Carilla, they were fourth with 27.99. Ryan Elder and Aaron Huttel was fifth with 27.71. Larry Allen, Gregory Allen was sixth with 27.43. looking down all the way down to the last place check. 18th place was Bobby Addison and Stephen Bergay. They had 23.17, so took over 23 pounds for 2 days, Kevin. That's basically a little over, right at 12, a little less than 12 pounds a day.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, it's Toledo Bend and Rayburn both right now. It's just that time of year. They had the Oilmans, which I'm trying to pull up the results for. Had the Oilmans not this past weekend, but the weekend before last on Toledo, which took right around 30 pounds to win it for 2 days. So it's just that time of year. A lot of stuff moving towards the back of the pocket. A lot of fish are on the move a little bit, especially over there at Rayburn when the water's the water's falling. So it's tough. It's tough fishing right now, especially over there on Sam Rayburn.
Yeah, and again, the problem was the tournament went out of Castle Boykin. Our tournament went out of Castle Boykin. They went out of Jackson Hill. So the 147 area was really crowded. I'm just going to tell you, that bridge was covered up. Harvey was covered up. A lot of guys ran all the way down to Veach was covered up. I think they even had a high school tournament going out of Humphreys Pavilion that we didn't know about. But there was also a benefit tournament out of Old Castle Boykin on Saturday. Clayton Bullware was telling me about that one. I mean, there's just a lot going on, and the lake is fishing small. It's 5 feet low right now, and as we've already alluded to, it just makes fishing awful tough. So fishing's not just you can catch fish, Cal. I mean, I probably caught 25 to 30 on day one, but getting the size that you need to do well is the problem. You can catch a bunch of little fish right now. But anyway, now looking at we'll go ahead and go over ABA. Again, we're still trying to track Chris down. Let's see here. ABA, Kevin Lazion from Dry Prong, Louisiana. He won this event with 33.25. Kevin had an 8.05 on day one, and I think he had a 6-something on day two. He had big fish for the event, and so congratulations to Kevin. He had 18.04 on day one and 14.71 on day two. And, of course, obviously day two is usually tougher. One guy kind of came out of nowhere. I say nowhere. He was barely in the top 10. Tommy Loving from Cypress, Texas, jumped all the way up to second place with a 17-pound bag on day two. He had the biggest bag by far, by over 3 pounds on day two. And Todd Driscoll, we all know Todd, wildlife fishery biologist from over there in Texas. He's out of Jasper. Todd had a really good time, actually leading on day one with 19.59, and I evidently had trouble getting the right bites, Kevin, on day two with 11.53. So Phil Addison was fourth with 24.52. Scott Dean, Canis Boats pro staffer out of Dallas-Fort Worth area. Scott's a really good angler, does a great job. He had a 2-day total of 17.54. The weights dropped off pretty quick right there. And Mike Richard from Nederland, Texas, had 17.21 for sixth. Seventh was Richard Wagner from Jasper, Texas, with 16.68. Don Dickerson was eighth with 17.36. Bill Watts, I call him Cowboy Bill Watts. He was ninth from Beaumont, Texas, with 16.66. And Adrian James, my roommate, was 10th with 15.21, and I was 11th with 15.02. So congratulations to Kevin and really those top three guys. They really all had 31. They're over 30 pounds, and they kind of blew everybody away. And so just a good tournament by those three.
Yeah. No, it was. To be able to do that right now, back-to-back days on Sam Rayburn, is I mean, it's what you have to do to compete over there right now. Just to be able to consistently do that on back-to-back days, because it's very hard to do. Steve, next week, Bass Champs Team Championship, Lake Texoma, October 14th and 15th. It's currently off limits. Everything is off limits for those guys on Lake Texoma right now, September 25th through October 10th. Official practice days are 11th, 12th, and 13th. If any of you have not yet decided on fishing that event, I've seen Bass Champs is posting. There's a few places that still have some rooms available. So make sure to check out their Facebook page for that. But so next weekend, a lot of guys going up to Lake Texoma, Steve, for that championship. And, we had Chris McCall on a couple weeks ago. And Chris was saying it was going to be a really good event for the time of year. We got a cool snap coming this weekend, Steve. A good cool snap. And up north up there, I know they'll get it going. I don't know how long this cool snap's going to be around for. I haven't looked that far off, but I bet it gets those Texoma fish firing.
Yeah, I think the fish are going to turn on a lot of places, and especially even in our region. I know the water temperature, and just to give you an example, guys that are getting ready to go to Rayburn or even Toledo Bend. Now, I was on Rayburn for probably 4 or 5 times in the last week and a half. The temperature, the first time I went, because we had a few cool nights through there, Kevin, it dropped down from like 88 to 82. Yeah. Well, when we left yesterday, it was 84, 85 degrees again. The temperatures have been climbing up again because we've had some hot days. There was no wind at Rayburn for at least 4 days. I've never been to Rayburn with no wind for 4 straight days. Yeah. It was slick calm. It was hot. Temperatures were in the mid-90s. And it was brutal at times just to try to keep you focused. I mean, it was hot, and a lot of guys struggled through some of that heat, especially on day 2. Yeah. But again, and right now, Kevin, the best way that I talk to a lot of guys that were catching fish, big worm is catching fish. You can catch fish on big worm. But the guys that did some things, I know some guys that I was kind of competing on one little hole with media bass. They were throwing, pegging their sinker, a 3/8 ounce sinker, about 6 inches above the worm, and they were throwing strictly trick worms. And they were catching a lot of fish doing that. Now, again, you're going to weed through some 1 pounder, 1.5 pounders to get a good weight fish, but there were some 3-4 pounders caught right there in our area. And I caught one myself on day 2. And but I actually ended up getting my limit off the bridge, and my co-anglers did really well. One of them finished second in this event. And so, again, all I will say, slow down. Yeah. Slow down, because I'm telling you right now, and I don't know if guys, if fish are moving up the creeks in terms of bait fish, but the bait fish I found was still out on the main lake. Main lake points were still good when we were there. And I know even in my practice, they were good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to several guys that's went over there this past weekend or so, and that's been over there and catching a lot of fish as far as numbers out deep. Not much size, but a lot of fish as far as numbers go.
Yeah.
So, Steve, circling back around to Bass Champs, my biggest thing here, looking at Lake Texoma, is, and talking to Chris, again, a couple weeks ago, it definitely will take a mixed bag, but the biggest question is, does all smallmouth win this event? Smallmouth do really well up there this time of year in the fall. It definitely, Chris really thinks it would definitely take a mixed bag, but going to be interesting to see if that is a all smallmouth event, 2-day event. So, will it be all 10, or after day 1 will be smallmouth be leading it? So, it can be won with all largemouth, of course, but man, this time of year, them smallmouth have gotten really big on that lake. Probably the best smallmouth lake in Texas. So it's going to be interesting to see what it takes to win that event. So I'll be anxious watching social media for next week's Bass Champs.
Yeah, and from a guy that's been there myself several times, I like Texoma. I can remember as little as 10 years ago, you had 10, 12 pounds, you was in the hunt. I mean, you were literally in the hunt to win the tournament. Well, whatever Texas Parks and Wildlife has done to that body of water, I'm telling you right now, that doesn't get it done anymore. You might not even get a check weighing 12 pounds a day over there. And I think the smallmouth resurgence over there, they seem to have gotten bigger for some reason. I don't know what it is about the lake that's changed, and you're catching more smallmouth than you used to catch. Used to, it was kind of a treat to catch a smallmouth. Now they're very common, especially around your rocky points and your ledges over there. That's where the smallmouth like to hang. And if you are going up, the bright colored crankbaits are always done with chartreuse and blues, chartreuse and black. Anything bright colored really seems to attract the smallmouth bite. The smallmouth are sight fishermen. They're sight feeders. And so they really like to, if they can see the bait, they will come get it. Soft plastic jerk baits, I know, have done well over there. So don't be afraid to throw something that's got some color in it, because smallmouth will eat that.
Right.
real quick, while again, let's go ahead and take a quick break, see if we can't get Chris Wayand on, and we'll take one more short win, and if nothing else, we'll come back. We got lake levels, and we can go ahead and start talking about the ABA Pro League. I know enough to be dangerous, and so between two of us, we'll figure out. We'll let people know what's going on with it. All right, we're gonna take one more short break, and you're watching Tackle Talk Live.
Are you looking for the finest custom-built rods ever made? Then look no further than Pride Rods. Fishing rods built to last and made in Montgomery, Texas. Constructed by Mr. Billy Kistler with the finest Gary Loomis North Fork composite blanks available. They offer a complete line of both spinning and casting rods for both fresh and salt water. Pride Rods do more than pass the eye test. They excel in performance as well. Ask your local tackle dealer if they carry Pride Rods and pick one up and try it for yourself. You'll see why so many anglers are using Pride Rods. To learn more, go to priderods.com or call 832-418-6040. The next time you're headed for Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, stop by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. They have an awesome supply of everything you'll need to catch the big ones. Whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, or the ultimate fighting shiners, Keith's Tackle has you covered. Keith and former Elite Series pro Ben Matsubu also have the latest information on what, how, and where you need to be fishing on Sam Rayburn or the Bend. So for all your tackle needs, check out Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, located just off Highway 21 on the Texas side of Toledo Bend, or call 409-625-0181. The Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency that has been taking care of Texans' insurance needs for over 25 years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, RV, life, health, and commercial insurance. Owner Clark Moore is a local guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs and wants to be your go-to guy for all your insurance needs. For a free quote, give him a call and see why so many Texans trust the Lake Insurance Agency. Located at 805 Southeast Stalling Suite 3, Nacogdoches, Texas, or call 936-205-4467. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
You're watching Tackle Talk Live. We appreciate you tuning us in today. This segment presented by Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, and the Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, Texas. Two locations, one in Broadus, right there on the shores of Sam Rayburn, and the other in Nacogdoches itself. Looking for boat insurance, truck insurance, need to insure the camp. Hey, check them out. The Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, they will take care of all your insurance needs. On the Tackle Talk hotline, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Chris Wayand, the tournament director for ABA, and especially in this region. And Chris definitely put some miles. Chris, how many miles you put on a truck in a year?
Just going to tournaments back and forth, probably around 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Matter of fact, part of the reason that you got me now, I was on a call. I got a national championship in South Carolina that I'm heading to in a couple of days here. I'm going to Saturday. I'm headed over there for the American Fishing Tour. So I'm going to Hartwell. Yep.
Hartwell. We've been there not too long ago. Love Hartwell.
Yes,
it's a great
sir.
place to go fish. All right, Chris, we're going to jump right in this. It's no secret. ABA, well, the secret is out now. ABA has made some major changes for 2024, and the biggest one, I think, right out the gate is the ABA, the new ABA Professional League. And if you want to, we're just going to kind of turn it over to you and let you kind of describe what it is, what it's all about, what it's taken the place of, I guess is the first question, and
right.
How does it affect anglers in our region?
Well, things have changed in the industry quite a bit the past few years. A lot of team trails coming out, this, that, and the other. And the Open Series, which we just finished up at Sam Rayburn this past weekend, was officially my last event as a director for that circuit. Coming in 2024, the Professional League is taking its place. And the biggest change is the fact that it's a boaters-only tournament trail. We won't have co-anglers anymore. So. Yeah. It hurts my heart because the co-anglers that have been with us for so many years have still stuck around all the way through everything, and made a lot of close friends with a bunch of them. But yeah, that change was made, but they're not being left out. There's things coming down the road for that. So ABA is going to introduce a team circuit for next season. It's going to be nationwide with a championship, and there's also the American Fishing Tour out there as well as an avenue to a national. So a lot of big changes. The Top 150 Solo has also expanded. There's 2 new divisions on the East Coast, one up north and one down in Florida. So that circuit's going to have 4 divisions now, and the championship for it will have 60 eligible anglers, top 15 from each division. But the wild card will not be out there. We had it past couple of years because the 2 regions were so close together, but trying to hold a wild card event for all 4 of them, being that some of them are fishing in New York State, it'd be kind of tough to negotiate that. So only the top 15 from each division and the top 150 will qualify. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, well,
with the Pro League, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, let's jump back to the Pro League. What's the entry fee for the Pro League? And is it a 1-day or 2-day event?
Well, what we're going to do, you're going to qualify for the Ray Scott. That tournament's not going away, but you're going to be ranked nationally based on the finishes you have at each event. So, for example, I've got 4 divisions, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Texas, and Louisiana. In order to be eligible for the Ray Scott, you have to fish 3 one-day events and a 2-day championship. But the catch to it is they don't have to be all in the same division. You could pick 1 from each one and go to them. Now, your points total up with your best 3 one-day events and a 2-day championship. But if you don't do so well at one of them, you can make it up somewhere else, and it'll count towards your national standings, just not in your division. So, for example, an angler that signs up and fishes all the tournaments in Texas, the entry fee is $325 for the 1-day and the 2-day championship, same price. He fishes all 3 one-day events and a 2-day, he will get ranked in the division and also in the nation. But if one of them wasn't very good, he could go to Louisiana, and if he does better, that one counts towards your national standings, and you throw out your worst. So a guy could fish 12 one-day tournaments, and only your best 3 will count towards your national standings. He could fish all 4 2-days, and your best 1 will count towards your national standings. But divisionally, you got to stay within the state that you start with.
Yeah. And that's really good, especially for our area in Louisiana. I know kind of went North Louisiana there, but you have that one Toledo Bend. And then, for the Toledo Bend Sam Rayburn guys, that works really well because you have 2 on Sam Rayburn. And then I know you go to Palestine and Lake of the Pines. But, for the Rayburn Toledo guys, you could stay at Toledo Bend and Rayburn and just fish those events, even though it's not in the same division, but get your national ranking.
That's right. Same with Louisiana. There's a lot of guys up here in North Louisiana that love Lake of the Pines. So if they want to fish that one, they could jump over, and they could use that one also as one of their top 3. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then there's a 2-day on Rayburn and a 2-day on Caddo. So you could pick one of those 2.
Right. And Chris, y'all did this to base, some guys are saying, like we used to say, well, you need to sign up for all of them or you don't qualify for the championship, or you got to do this, you got to do that. Y'all kind of eliminated all that and said, look, we're turning people away. I know Kevin last year would love to maybe gotten in on Monday morning, but he wasn't able to get in because he didn't know his schedule, y'all changed that. Yeah. Let everybody know you've changed that time frame as well.
Yeah, we have. As far as what you were saying, getting in, for the top 150, there's a lot of guys that missed that cutoff on Friday afternoon at 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave online registration open until 8 a.m. on Monday morning. That way, if there's somebody on the weekend that says, crap, I missed it, I can go ahead and jump in it. So you can sign up online and we'll get you in that way. Now, with the Pro League, the limitations have been cut way back. You only need to participate in 1 tournament throughout the season to be eligible for a 2-day championship. And it doesn't matter where it is. If you're on vacation in Florida and fish one down there, you can fish a 2-day in any state. So the options are there.
I can fish a 1-day in Louisiana and still qualify for the 2-day in Texas?
Yes, any 2-day championship.
Does it have to be in my division?
No, it can be anywhere in the country.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Anywhere in the country.
That even makes it better.
Now that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, but as long as you fish one-day tournament in a pro league somewhere in the country, you're eligible for a 2-day championship. Because I've talked to some guys.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Pardon?
How do you pick that? Let's say I fished the Louisiana division and I fished Toledo Bend. Okay,
Sure.
but I would rather fish Sam Rayburn 2-day event. Do I have to call and tell y'all which one I want? How do people choose which 2-day they want to fish?
That's entirely up to you. For example, when you sign up to fish these tournaments, all you do is you call headquarters, and when you register for the event, you just tell them, I fished these 1 days here, but I want to fish the 2-day at Rayburn instead of going to
Right.
Caddo, and they'll sign you
Right.
up for that tournament. Nationally, it counts as your point standings. So your goal is to ultimately be in the top 200 by points nationwide at the end of the season, because those individuals that are top 200 will get the invitation to the Ray Scott. And if somebody declines it, it just goes down the line. So that tournament's going to have a full field just about every time from here on out. Yep.
Well,
but
Chris,
getting back to the reason, go ahead, Steve.
Well, you and I have talked about, y'all basically took a page from the AFT, which has been going on forever with AFA, and that's basically the format you've implemented for the professional league, isn't it?
That's right. And, for example, the American Fishing Tour, we always refer to it as the grassroots of our organization. That's how this whole thing started with American Bass Anglers. The design behind it originally was the military bass anglers, the old MBA back in the day. And what it did is gave guys the opportunity to fish tournaments locally, around home, whatever, but qualify for a big national championship. And that way there was only 1 week in a year that they traveled and participated, and it was a good experience for a lot of people. But it's been going on for so long and been successful so many years. The Hartwell tournament is full field. It's 250. We've got 250 boats coming to that tournament. So we wanted to bring it over and introduce it to the pro league so you guys get the opportunity to do it as well. But the main reason over the years, the progression from fishing local tournaments to turning pro, the price has gapped significantly as far as entry fees go. I mean, you guys know there's some people that pay $1,900, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to fish as a boater in a tournament. And that mid-entry level has just disappeared. So we wanted to introduce this to give guys the option, hey, you can still do it this way. Because I can name 7 people right now that have come across my stage that are fishing in the elites since I've started doing this 9 years ago. Yeah. And that doesn't include all the other directors. They can do the same thing.
And Chris, I'm glad you brought that up. Do you think that this will encourage some of those guys higher up to drop down and fish some of this stuff? Are they eligible to fish this level?
Yes, they are. The top 150 has no limitation.
Right.
It's open to anybody that wants to sign up. The Pro League, I haven't gotten detailed rules on it yet, so it's possible that some of them may fish. But yeah, that was the main reason for this whole thing, because nationwide, there isn't anything singles-wise that you can do out there. And one other thing I want to mention, co-anglers. If there's anybody out there listening that won Divisional Angler of the Year this year as a co-angler, we're giving them comp entries as a boater to this circuit for next year.
Wow.
There's a lot of them that own boats, yeah. So if there's anybody that was an Angler of the Year, co-angler-wise, and I can think of one in Mississippi right now that told me he was going to go boater next year, I got to call him and tell him it was on us.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you just kind of brought that up. AOY is where I was going next. The Angler of the Year for the Pro League in your division. Explain how you can become, and that can turn into national AOY when you get to nationals.
Okay. If an individual fishes, and again, I'll use local tournaments here, Louisiana division. He fishes all 3 1-days and a 2-day. There will be a Divisional Angler of the Year crowned when it's over. He represents the state of Louisiana at the Ray Scott. So when you go to the Ray Scott, not only are you fishing for the national AOY title, but you're fishing for the title of Ray Scott champion. And if you win AOY at the Ray Scott, you just compete like normal all 3 days. The highest finishing AOY in the country will earn a cash bonus at the Ray Scott.
So you could come in 10th and win AOY, national AOY.
Correct.
Yeah.
You don't have to win the
Do we know
tournament.
what
You just
that
got to be the
cash
highest
bonus
finisher.
is, Chris?
I haven't been told yet, but it's
Okay.
going to be enough to make a person very happy.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of options that are out there for people to, make it now. And the limitations was the big thing we wanted to get rid of. Like, for example, the 2-day championships this season with the Open Series, it was limited to those who participated in 3 tournaments. Well, Texas, I think I had close to 90 different anglers, but only 25 of them qualified because they fished 3 or more. So it put a restriction to it. So now, taking that down to 1 event, you open the door for all of them to get in.
Yeah.
And just because you fish 3 one-day tournaments in a 2-day doesn't mean your season's over. Because there's other events that are still going on, and you can still make them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't stop just because your 2 days done. You can keep going.
Right.
So,
and let's look at the schedule real quick. You got 2 divisions, a new Louisiana division that you have introduced, and I know it's something you've been striving for a while, and tried to encourage ABA to put one in Louisiana. The first one is February 10th on Caddo Lake. The second one is March 23rd at Lake Bistino. Then you go to Toledo Bend April 20th. And then the 2-day championship for the Louisiana division will be held on Caddo Lake June 22nd and 23rd. And the race Scott for next year or for 2025 is actually Lake Eufaula, Alabama.
that's correct.
So great schedule, Chris. I really think it's a good schedule, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Again, I'm like Kevin. I'm kind of wondering how many of those, will there be some East Texas guys jump down and fish Toledo Bend? Or I know a lot of them fish Caddo, so that's the one I'm interested to see. How many East Texas overlap Louisiana? How many come over there and say we're going to fish Caddo with Louisiana guys? That will tell the tale for me as to exactly how this thing's going to work out.
Yeah, and same for Lake of the Pines with Louisiana division. There's going to be guys that go over there and fish that because I know a bunch of people around here that already do. I've gotten phone calls from individuals I haven't heard from in 7 years that are asking about this. So, because I used to run AFT here in Shreveport, and I met them then. So.
And speaking of the Texas division, you're going March 2nd, Lake of the Pines, April 13th, Sam Rayburn. May 18th, Lake Palestine, and 14th and 15th of September is Sam Rayburn 2-day divisional championship. And so another great schedule. I mean, Lake of the Pines, Rayburn, and Palestine, that's 3 pretty good bodies of water.
Yeah. I mean, the potential for some heavy bags exists on all 3 of those bodies of water. I've even seen on Palestine in the middle of July, 28 pounds come in. There was a frog bite, and he was in the right spot at the right time, and he called me at 10 o'clock, said, I'm done. So, yeah.
Chris, for the 2-day, is there any, for the winner of the 2-day event, does the winner get an automatic berth to this championship or anything? Winner just wins it's up to, I know the purse is up to 10 grand, but is the 2-day winner
I'm not sure about the winner. Yeah, I'm not sure about the winner of the 2-day, but the angler of the year, obviously, he's going to be in the points race. But AOY definitely gets it. Yeah.
I was just asking.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we can look at for sure. I mean, like I said, the rules aren't concrete yet, so it's
To me, you win a 2-day event. I mean, on that level, you deserve to get something, and there ought to be a pretty good prize for that.
Well,
that's not a bad idea.
That question was if, let's say, somebody fishes one event. Again, let's just say take Louisiana, and I come up and fish the Toledo Bend event, and then I fished the 2-day, and I'm able to fish the 2-day Caddo at the end of the year. Well, if I'm not in that 200 because I only fished one event, does go into that 2-day event, if I win it, does that get me in the race, Scott? Sometimes those.
I see what you're saying. Right.
Events.
Right. If you only fished one and then a 2-day, unfortunately, the answer is no. You have to participate in at least 3 1-days and a 2-day to be eligible for that top 200.
Yeah, I kind of like that rule. I keep somebody from shotgunning it,
Right.
A big pro doing that. And I think that's a good rule. Chris, real quick,
because
I want to go over with you. I want you to explain to our audience and the people that are fishing ABA and other circuits, just go over the challenges of what you as tournament directors are having to deal with trying to secure boat ramps for these events now.
Man, I'll tell you right now, you just gave me goosebumps because it's the worst nightmare I have all season long. Whenever we start looking at tournament dates for the upcoming season, it starts in April and June, like this year. April, June time frame, I know in July, I've got to start looking at 24. The biggest issue that we have securing ramps is the fact that there are so many tournament trails out there. I look at all the BFLs, the Opens, Bass Champs, Texas Teams Trail, Brandon Belt. There's local clubs you've got to watch out for. High school tournaments. And trying to logistically plan something that works every season without stepping on anybody's toes is the hardest thing to do in the world.
Oh, it's impossible in this region.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you always want to be the first one to get your schedule out. But when you do that, then you see, well, I can't do it this way because this one's here. And then I can't do this one because this one's here. And here's a perfect example. I secured a date for Sam Rayburn next year. Everything was great. Turned in my schedule. And then, wait a minute. Bob Seeley just got that weekend at the other end of the lake. Big Bass Splash is going to be there. There's going to be 2,000 boats. No, sir. I'm not going. So luckily, the weekend prior was open, and I was able to move it. But that happens with everything. As a matter of fact, I don't even think Skeeter has announced the Bass Champ circuit for next year yet.
No, they have not. No, they haven't come out yet.
And who knows what's going to happen when it comes out? Because I turned all my stuff in August, and I've had to make a couple changes here and there. But, you know, it's a headache. It really is, because it continues week after week after week. You solve one issue, and then you look at the other state, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I can't do that. And you fix that one, and then wait a minute, I can't do this one. So, that's the biggest, most difficult thing in the world, really, is trying to miss everything so everybody can fish anything they want. It's really hard.
Chris, let's jump over to the Solo 150 here. Let's talk about the upcoming season with it. Man, I love the schedule, and you did a little something different this year. The Solo 150 schedule, you went earlier. I mean, you're starting in January, I believe. Am I correct? Yeah, January. You do January, February, and May, whereas previous years you went a little bit later. So that worked really good for me, but I really like what you did there.
Yeah. One of the biggest changes, going to this pro league and dropping down the number of events, but also for Texas, we have had Division 10 and 11 for the past 9-10 years. There's 2 divisions in Texas. And if you look on a map, those 2 divisions are fishing within 3 hours of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can go from Lake of the Pines to Sam Rayburn in 3 hours.
Yeah.
So you're spreading things thin. Now, scheduling wise, there's 4 one-days in each one, so that's 8, and then 2 2-days. That gives me 10, and then 3 for the top 150. That's 13 tournaments in one state. How many Saturdays are there from January to June?
Right.
Not very. You know what I mean? You got holidays, you got Easter, you got the Ray Scott, which takes up 2 weeks because you got practice and then the tournament, and that's right in the middle of April in prime time. So you're cutting it short. Well, this year it dropped down to 3 one-days and a 2-day for Texas, plus the 3 for the top 150. So now I'm only doing 7 versus 13. So I was able to spread them out a little bit more. Now I know it's going to be cold in January because I heard this winter might be tough, but fish bite.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, January and February honestly are some of your better turnouts, just because people are
be
eager to get back on the water. So,
but how many years, guys? How many years have we gone into January and you're wearing shorts? And Indian summer is pretty hot in our part of the country in January. Now February, very seldom are we warm in February, but January we get lucky once in a while.
We certainly do. Yeah, a few years back, January was fine, and then February rolls around, and we were snowed in for 8 days. I mean, you just never know. You never know.
Anything else changes for the Solo 150 for 2024, Chris?
Other than the wild card not existing and the 2 divisions expanding to the East Coast and the championship now being 60, no, that's it.
But we still don't know where the championship is going to be at, correct?
We do not. The registration, that thing changed. Remember, it was a cutoff at 5 o'clock on Friday. Obviously, the office is only open Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. But we now have the 2 extended days on the weekend. Because I can remember, I think I was at Pines last year at the Top 150. I took 7 phone calls from guys that were wanting to register for the upcoming one, and it was shut off. Now you can still sign up online over the weekend because official practice starts on Monday. So you can sign up until 8 a.m. Saturday and Sunday.
And how many are you taking to the Solo 150 championship per division?
15 per division. So there'll be 15 from me, the others from Floyd, which some of the guys have met. And then there's one down in Florida that's fishing Toho and Okeechobee. They're stoked about it. He's probably going to sell out on all of them. And then the other one's going to be split between New York, Maryland, Virginia, North and South Carolina, somewhere in that area. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Chris, one more thing I want to bring up with you real quick. ABA, one of the things that me and you've talked about, we hated when they eliminated it, but they took the regionals away. And we've always wondered why are the BFL so successful? It's because of the regionals. It's kind of the end of the year for a lot of guys because a lot of them ain't going to make the All-American. Only 5% will make it to the All-American. So this is kind of the end of the year. ABA, the last tournament we had was at Fort Gibson. We had 200 boats participating in that event. Is ABA ever looking to maybe bring those regional tournaments back again?
Yes. It is something that I've been talking about for the last couple of years, but if everybody thinks back, when we stopped having regional championships, it was the first time gas prices spiked over $4 a gallon.
Yeah.
And everybody was just freaking out. They're like, what are we going to do? Because you think about traveling, you got all the gas in the truck, and then 50 gallons in a boat, and you can burn it in a day. Trust me, I've done it. Okay. But if you have to do that 5 times in 1 week, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that regionals disappeared, is because the travel was just too costly.
But what are you looking at doing regionals for? What circuit?
Well, I would like to see it personally back for the Pro League.
Yeah, me too.
Because I've got coverage within, 4 or 5 hours around myself for 5 different states. So I'd love to do a regional amongst the 4 that I have, and then go to the race guy from there. But there's a lot of logistics with sponsors and other things that have to be incorporated into that decision before you can just say, yes, we're going to have it again. So it's definitely something I would like to see in the future. Yep.
Yeah. And Chris, a lot of anglers that me and you both have talked to, and probably Kevin as well, it's a lot easier to say, okay, I'm going 5 hours from here to Eufaula, Oklahoma, or Texoma, wherever. It's just more convenient for this region to have one big regional instead of, well, I got to go all the way to Eufaula, Alabama for the Ray Scott. Not knocking the Ray Scott. It's a great tournament.
No.
For the local guys, again, that's why the BFLs are successful, is because of their regional tournaments.
And I totally agree with that. I totally agree. If it were up to me, we'd have it, but I can't look at it just as being selfish for my region, because it applies to the entire country. There's 4 other directors that would have to do the same thing. So logistically, will it work? There's a lot that goes into it. And yes, I want to bring it back. I really do. But will it ever come to attrition? It's hard to say. So,
Chris, anything else you want to promote? Anything else you want to talk about?
For those co-anglers that are out there listening, I know that the team trail is coming. So be paying attention to the website for the schedules to pop out. The American Fishing Tour is still there, non-boater side. We have not forgotten about you, and I don't want you to just forget about ABA. So we will be putting something out for you here soon. So.
All right. Good deal. Kevin, you got anything?
I think that covers it for me.
Chris, you did a great job, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Now, don't forget, registration for everything opens here. Priority entry for the Pro League. I believe some of it started yesterday for anybody that fished the previous season, but for anyone that's wanting to sign up for one-day events, October the 16th is the date. The Freedom Pass is going to be out there. I don't know, that's something we haven't talked about. You buy it once and it's good all year long. $25, and you don't have to show up for check-in. You can just come to the tournament Saturday morning. Yeah, Steve, you know all about that, so yeah.
Yeah, well, and the thing I like too, COVID. If there's anything good come out of COVID, I really think that's one of the things that came out of it was the way you guys are organizing the pre-tournament meetings and having those sometimes on the water that morning. I just think that's the best movie you ever made.
Right.
Because some guys
and I will say, next year that pre-tournament meeting will take place on the water right before takeoff. Yeah. Now you still have to check in on Friday. Yep, but the top 150, it's in the rules. You can see it right there, safety briefing before takeoff. But they left it open up to the tournament director's discretion for the Pro League. And, Steve, you know me, I'm going to do it Friday because everybody's there and you can all hear me. So,
yeah. Good deal.
But, yeah, as far as checking in, get that Freedom Pass because it's worth it. You don't have to come to the ramp on Friday. You're working late, you can't get there. You've already got it. Just let me know that you're coming and you're all set. It's that easy.
All right. Chris, thank you, man.
Thanks,
anytime,
Chris.
guys. Glad you called. Yes, sir. I'll see y'all soon.
All right. Chris Wayand, ABA Tournament Director for the Arklatex region, including Oklahoma. And Kevin, he gave some good details there. I mean, your opinion, what are you thinking? How do you?
Well, I like the way he broke down the points on the pro series now. That's interesting. The national average, you don't have to fish. For me, if I was going to fish some, I could fish Toledo and then some Rayburn's instead of having to go, from where I'm located. I'm not familiar enough with Caddo Lake to go fishing open against those guys, all those home bodies there. So, that's interesting there. And also that you can, fish one tournament, fish any 2 day that you want. So, anywhere in the country that you want to go fish. So, I like the idea and thought process behind a lot of that. So, there's some interesting things there to think about.
All right. Well, Kevin, that's all I've got. Anything else you want to add? Well, we're going to wrap it up
for today. Good luck to all the guys going up to Texoma next weekend. Good luck to all the Sealy Big Bass Splash guys that's going to be on Rayburn this weekend in the fall event. Be very careful out there, guys. If you don't know exactly where you're in at, do not run. You can get yourself in some trouble on Sam Rayburn right now. Yep. So good luck to everybody fishing those two events coming up. So I look for a good showing at the Bass Champs on Texoma. With this weather doing what it's doing, I look for it to be a good event.
Yep, I would agree. All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this week. We want to say thank you for tuning us in. Appreciate each and every one of you. Spread the word about the show, please. Send it, share whatever we post on our Facebook. Share it with your friends. We're trying to get our numbers up. But if you watch us on YouTube, Facebook, you can catch us on Instagram, whatever way you listen to podcasts. If you'd like to become a member of our sponsorship team, and we'll have some big news in the next couple of weeks to announce a new sponsor, please message us on our Facebook page. Kevin will make sure he sends out some good detailed packet as to how you can become a member of our sponsorship team. For Kevin Jean, yours truly, Steve Graff. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week with more Tackle Talk Live.